My neighbor paved over my historic driveway while I was at work, so I revoked her access and trapped her Porsche. The smell of hot tar hit me before I even turned the corner. I slammed on my brakes, staring in horror as a massive yellow steamroller crushed the 150-year-old hand-laid cobblestones of my driveway into dust. My neighbor, Patricia, was standing by her mailbox, holding a glass of champagne, watching the destruction with a smile that made my skin crawl. "Patricia," I screamed, jumping out of my car. "What have you done? These stones are from 1890. It's called progress, darling," she drawled, taking a sip. I was tired of spilling my coffee every time I drove over those bumpy rocks. "My suspension can't take it. Since you wouldn't pave it, I took the initiative. You can thank me later. It increased your property value." "You paved over my land?" I asked, my voice shaking. "I told you no 3 times. Our driveway," she corrected, waving a dismissive hand. "It's an easement, David. I have rights. I can maintain it however I see fit." "You have the right to pass," I spat, watching the steamroller flatten a century of history. "Not to destroy." "Oh, stop being dramatic," she rolled her eyes. "It's just dirt and rocks. Now it's smooth. Get used to it." She turned her back on me and walked into her McMansion. I didn't yell. I didn't throw a punch. I walked into my house, went to the wall safe behind the painting, and pulled out the original deed my grandfather handed down to me. Patricia thought it was a standard shared driveway easement. It wasn't. That's when the real bombshell dropped. I sat at my kitchen table and read the clause from 1920 aloud to the empty room. "The right of passage is granted solely on the condition that the original stone path remains unaltered. Any modification, covering, or removal of said stones immediately revokes the easement and reverts full control of the lane to the grantor." She hadn't just paved a driveway. She had legally walled herself in. I called a construction friend of mine. "I need emergency service. Heavy-duty concrete bollards. Installed at the property line. Today. I'll pay double." By 6 p.m., the asphalt was dry. Patricia tried to leave for her dinner reservation. She revved her white Porsche Cayenne, backing out of her garage, only to slam on the brakes. For solid steel and concrete posts were bolted into the ground right where her property met mine, blocking the only exit to the street. "What is this?" she shrieked, storming over to where I was drinking a beer on the porch. "Move these things. I have a reservation at Chez News." "Get off my property," I said calmly. "This is the driveway," she yelled, pointing at the fresh blacktop. "I paid $10,000 for this." "It was the driveway," I corrected, holding up the photocopy of the deed. "Now, it's my private parking lot. You violated the preservation clause when you poured that tar. The easement is dead. You have no legal access to this road. You can't trap me here," she screamed, her face turning purple. "I'll call the police." "Call them," I smiled. "I'd love to file a report for vandalism of a historic site." The police came. They read the deed. They looked at the fresh asphalt. They looked at the bollards. "Ma'am," the officer sighed, tipping his cap. "He's right. You destroyed the condition of the easement. You're landlocked. You can't drive across his property without his permission." "But how do I get my car out?" she wailed, kicking the tire of her Porsche. "I suggest a helicopter," I shouted from the porch. "Or maybe you can build a road through the swamp behind your house." She had to hike through the woods in her heels to get an Uber. She's currently suing me, but the judge already denied her emergency injunction because she willfully destroyed the property conditions. She has to build a new driveway through a protected wetland on the other side of her lot. The environmental permits alone are going to cost her 6 figures. Am I the villain for trapping her, or did she pave her own road to hell?